Should we start?
Yeah.
All right. Work plan discussion.
Yeah.
Great. So, maybe we should just review the agenda real
No,
quick.
this is standing.
The whole agenda.
This has been published, so we.
April 4th. Great. 2 weeks out of 9.
Yep.
Okay, so we have to be out of here as we go to the board of selectmen. Yeah.
Yep, so tonight we were gonna talk about two different things, basically. One is the 2024-25 work plan. And then the second one is discussion of the idea around maximum lot size. So everybody should have a copy of the draft work plan. Certainly room for tweaks and modifications, but basically what we tried to do was pick all of the meeting dates for the next year.
That's awesome.
And took the topics that were discussed from the
Last time.
meeting before.
Yeah.
Some of which we can add to if we need to. And then just sort of, the idea in my mind is, let's talk about it. Then let's spend a little bit of time at the next meeting recapping. If we have to continue a discussion, we can kind of do that, but it's really just sort of flip flopping back and forth. From new topic, old topic to new topic, old topic to new topic. And then Claire was kind enough to, in all of the other stuff she's working on, project out when the town meeting is for next year. And so I've added some of that to this. And then also, we talked about, like maybe a fall public outreach and then really hit the winter stuff. So
Town by town or just one?
no, I think, for
One.
this group, it would be more like, hey, we've X, Y, and Z, let's have a public meeting to talk about it. So
That's
there's a, I
that's
like to
in
kind of,
August already.
what's that?
That's in August.
We're gonna talk about it in August and probably have it in.
Yeah.
Timeframe. I'd like to, I'm gonna try to shift the format a little bit to be more chart-y, because that, I think that helps sort of talk it through, but this is the starting point. Happy to take thoughts and suggestions. There's no magic to the, why did I pick this topic versus that topic, except some of them are a little longer time for us to get material together, so.
Thank you.
So, yeah, for, as
That's
usual.
great.
So this would be a good guide, subject to change, of course.
How it seems to be.
Yeah, well, this is pretty specifically laid out, but I think there's things that pop up and.
Yeah.
Things that we may not be able to work through in, two meetings or whatever. Some of the bigger topics would be, if we decide to do a site plan review ordinance or whatever tweaks end up getting made to the subdivision ordinance. There's a few legislative things we need to work through. Still haven't quite been worked out yet, I don't think, in the legislature, but that's it. Great. Any other thoughts? Good to go then.
Yeah, we can change it as we need it.
Yep, did anybody, I mean, I think this is a working to-do list, so we can get to, if there's things we wanna add to it. We can get to them, or we don't get to them, and we just carry it, over. But this is sort of like a working to-do list. Great.
Yeah.
All right. Good thing on the list was, the first thing we were gonna talk about on our list was the idea that we may want to consider, in certain areas of town, whether or not we have the maximum lot size rather than a minimum lot size. And that idea would be helpful in, helping to maintain some of the neighborhoods that have smaller lots anyway, that might not match, but, the idea that people can't buy 2 or 3 or 4 lots and then maybe make them into one big lot, which could potentially change the character of that area. So you guys had talked about a couple of different neighborhoods. I think I put that on the list.
Yeah.
And we made some zoomed in maps that we can kind of go over. And also, if you haven't sort of looked at your ordinances, that would have been good homework. Just to kind of get a sense of what the dimensional standards are for like, PR to,
Are these zoomed in for the whole town or just for
They're just,
They're
these
just
are
the two areas.
different for actually, I didn't bring the whole town map, and I actually made two, but I knew that was gonna be the one map that I did not bring, let's forget, so. I'm approaching the bench. Yeah, so this is, what I did was I made one aerial map of, this is the Dunbar Road, Seal Harbor. And I made a cartoony map of this, of, the town, like the village. And then another cartoon map and I didn't think printing off the aerial map of the village today would be like super helpful, so I didn't waste the ink.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep. So I guess the, yeah, the discussion is, this would be like Upper and Lower Dunbar Road. So I just tried to pick like basically the conversations that we had before and like thinking about the town. We can blow this conversation out a little bit broader eventually, but I think like picking the areas that are really focused on like the VR ones essentially is what I think the areas that we're talking about, or the village commercial districts that are residential.
So Dunbar's the one,
Yep, the Dunbars are one.
so that's
I
10,000.
We have village commercial here, we have village residential here, and then this Sylvan City village commercial over there. Which eventually we gotta figure that out.
Would you envision not, I mean, we're talking about having a maximum, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't also have a minimum.
I think you could have a minimum lot size and a maximum lot
Yeah.
size, yep,
Probably need both.
yep,
Yeah. They wouldn't.
So the 10,000 square feet is a quarter acre.
yep. So
And
I didn't go through, one of the things I was thinking about when I was doing a little bit of thoughts on this would be kind of interesting. And well, I know we can do this in GIS. I can't because I'm not that smart. Suzanne probably could do this, is like take an average, like here's the lot size
Mhm.
in these areas and like just if you're really keyed in on average lot size, that's a data point we could get. I think another reason not to do that right away is that might skew your thinking, in that you should really be thinking, should these areas be, if the maximum lot size right now, if the minimum lot size right now is 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Like, is that lot area appropriate, and should that be the maximum lot size?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, it would be interesting to know what percentage of the lots maybe don't meet them.
Yep,
required lot size.
Yeah,
yeah,
So that's.
don't meet the minimum.
No, don't meet them.
yeah.
Don't make the minimum.
I think what we'll end up wanting to do though is like take things like this. Things that are really gonna skew the, is it- I don't know what this is. What's that?
Haynes Garage.
Haynes Garage, yeah. Why don't we keep that in?
What's that? in that?
That's the town office,
Oh, okay.
and the
All
hotel.
right, okay.
Cause they'll
Uh-huh.
mess everything up. For the averages.
What's the minimum lot size in commercial, isn't it? 5,000 square feet?
Actually, it's 1,000 square feet, in this area, yeah. Yep, oh yeah, per dwelling, yep.
And how
In this
many of
area,
those lots don't meet the 5,000 square feet?
It's a good question.
Probably a lot
A
of.
lot. A
Are
lot.
these areas all served
Not a
by
lot.
town water?
Yes.
Mhm.
Town water and town sewer.
Yeah, I mean, town sewer is great, but.
They're all
Oh,
town water now.
Huh.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think this is, part of it is, we just need to. Sit with this for a little bit and think about this part of our community, like what is the intent of the village residential or a village commercial area? And correlate that with the particular location that district is in, knowing that like you can have a village residential one. Else in town that is a totally different type of village residential one.
Right, like that one and that.
Yeah,
And you're obviously gonna wanna key it into a description of the perceived need. And, I mean, we're using, we've got an old comprehensive plan, but that comprehensive plan itself from 2009, if I remember correctly, was pretty clear about affordability and availability.
Yes.
I mean, it's not a new concern.
If you wanna read it.
I do. I think I have a picture. I think I- Anyway, I did read it.
So if they're under 10,000 square feet and we put a maximum size,
Then it would be a non-conforming
it
lot
would
of
be
record.
non-conforming unless they had, if the one next to it was also 5,000 square feet, and then they could combine those two lots to 10,000 feet,
Mhm. Yep,
but no more, you couldn't buy 6 of them,
Right,
right.
but you couldn't buy that strip,
right?
yeah.
It's like Monopoly,
Right.
Yeah.
my hotel here.
Right, yeah. Is there a square footage standard in more built up village or areas?
I mean,
That's
outside
too
of us,
far, like, yeah, like a 5,000.
you mean like Portsmouth or somewhere,
I
Yeah, it's
don't,
hard to tell.
I
what to
think you-
compare it to.
or, yeah,
it's an interesting question that would be hard to answer, given that every area kind of has a different,
History and.
yeah. So, you know, the development is different.
although it probably follows a basic pattern of the main center of town having smaller storefronts.
Yep,
And then the neighborhoods expanding, just like they always have, as they go out further and further, till you get to suburbia.
yep,
But I drove down Lower Ledge Lawn yesterday, those houses are tight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's really
Oh,
tight.
yeah.
Those are super.
And the next one up,
Yeah.
what's it called?
Lower Ledge.
Now, we have to keep in mind that under the laws and the ordinance that presumably will pass and finds a state law, all of these lots with a maximum lot size could conceivably have another
Unit.
unit. So it could be much tighter than ultimately by law.
mhm,
That's not a complaint, that's just a.
No, they'll be allowed to have it, and that's, they still have to fit to conform to building standards.
And setback,
And, yeah, and so they wouldn't be able to build a monstrosity
right,
or take 3 lots out
and
of
lot
production.
coverage, I mean, that's, lot coverage is 40%.
Mhm.
Is that, maybe we need to think about that too, but I don't know.
You mean
Expanding
by
it,
making it bigger?
lot coverage bigger,
Well, possibly, if you're gonna allow, if you're gonna make the maximum size. And then people are allowed under the new state law to maybe put another building on there. I'm not saying, I'm not advocating for it, I'm just saying.
I think
Something to
it's,
think about.
consider.
yeah, I think it's helpful for us to brainstorm all these questions.
Yeah, that's all.
I think you'd find that
I don't have the. law.
if you expanded it too much, you'd basically be creating total lot coverage allowable on the
Right.
little lots. And the part of the point of what we're sort of thinking about is not having big expansions go on.
Well, right, right.
So I wouldn't be leaning towards expanding coverage all that much more.
But it's interesting, so this is village commercial, and this didn't have a 75% lot coverage.
Yeah.
And BR one is 40%.
Right.
Yep. And you,
That's quite a
you know,
disparity.
as we're going through this, and even this may be sort of a comprehensive plan / LUZO discussion, again, you know, policy happens even when comp plans are underway, so it's not like you have to wait, but it might be interesting to say, all right, you know, this is a good area to think about, okay, what would happen if we made, I'm just making up lines, you know, what happens if we just made this whole area, you know, village commercial? Instead of
Village
village
commercial for
residential.
usage or village commercial for coverage?
For you know, for density purpose, for coverage purposes, for lot area purposes, so we start to rethink the frame a little bit,
But not necessarily for allowed uses.
No. although,
How would you word that?
I don't know yet.
If you made it all village commercial, people would expect that they could.
Well,
use
we
it.
maybe,
Well, you wouldn't
maybe
call-
village commercial actually becomes more village commercial,
You'd have VR3 or
what
something.
it should be, you know, here's village commercial. And then here's something else.
But the only distinction
one.
between village commercial and VR1 now is the commercial feasibility of it, not so much, it doesn't matter if we made VR1 lot coverage 75%
Nope,
and still call it VR1.
sure.
Well, you could have a VR3,
We
You
have.
could.
We have a VR3.
four.
Just the actual lot.
Yeah,
VR3.
we can.
Catch up.
There's all kinds of things.
Three
you
and a
can do. I'm just, I'm thinking less, getting bogged down in like, okay,
Yeah.
here's the application of that idea, but like the idea is. What's different about this area than this area?
The C.
The what? The C?
C ending instead of.
Different color.
R
Yeah.
ending.
Exactly. I mean, in practice, yes,
Yeah.
there's nothing different between here
Not really.
and here.
Right.
You know, why is this village commercial? Because of that.
Well,
And
but
maybe there was one
also,
or two other places there.
these
before.
were commercial, that's commercial,
Yeah.
that was a school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was commercial along there.
Yeah.
Haynes Garage. and
Yeah.
Palmer.
The-
Yeah.
You got the plumbing shop. It was-
Yeah, but why can't you, oh, anyway,
No.
interesting question to say, well, what's wrong with having things like that in a village residential area? I think you probably still could, couldn't you?
Well, that's the thing is uses. If you change out all the VC, you're gonna allow everything that's allowed in the village commercial,
Right,
whereas designated village residential, which do not allow a lot of what VC allows for the uses.
That's why I was saying
Yeah.
you could change the coverage and not change the usage,
Right.
unless you wanted to.
You could increase the coverage.
Yes.
yeah, the thing that we need to figure out is, say, we think, you know, there should be a maximum lot area here. You know,
Mhm.
but it's not gonna apply here. Necessarily, I'm just thinking out loud, again, like, when, as soon as you
Right.
start coming out here. Things get a little bit,
Mhm.
right? So. Just trying to come up with some sort
No, that
of,
makes sense.
that's like,
Well, this conversation started with an articulated desire to conserve what's
The neighborhoods, right.
not necessarily remake the whole community like that. Right, I mean,
Yeah. I guess is what I'm saying,
yeah,
is that, you know. Yep. There's an area where you might consider the maximum lot area, when the objective is to make it so that. It becomes, continues to be a more small lot. Village as opposed to combining lots into bigger,
Right.
larger structures potentially. So it's the density that you get in a village setting as opposed to a suburb.
Mhm.
So it's an interesting challenge. And a good idea.
do you know if in other jurisdictions there are maximum lot size?
There are, that is a tool that some communities have used, yes.
It'd be good to see some of those. Maybe good to see some of those as
Maybe we should have
models.
rented bus.
Oh, I don't mean
Oh,
to
I'm
field
sure.
trips, I mean actually. Yeah.
You can get the budget boosted and want field trips. It's gonna keep that.
Actually see some of the language.
Do you see it as being feasible?
I mean, I think that I'm not at all worried about creating the ordinance language around it as much as I am like finding that locations where it's gonna make the most sense.
And then also, I mean, what's feasible is what the town wants to do, so then exploring that will be another very big aspect of this. Having that conversation out loud.
Is all of, Jordan Pond to up the Dunbars, is that all VR1?
Let's see. Yep, so all the VR1 is this side right here, then it kind of expands into a VR1
Yeah,
and then
Collapses.
VR1. until you get to about here.
And where are they, where's the park getting ready to build?
It's easy to see. The park,
Or their housing, yeah,
that's gonna be out beyond.
yes, or.
They already started, it's on the end, it's
It's on the
across,
end.
yeah, they're across from where the cemetery is.
Oh, okay,
They got the foundations in for both buildings.
yeah, and that's for housing, right? Or-
Correct.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the park housing staff.
That's
Yeah.
easy to see. Sometimes the aerial is helpful, just so you can see like, okay, this is how the houses all kind of fit on the land and. Yep. I mean, this is a really interesting area to kind of start with, because it's pretty well defined.
I was just gonna say it's a little less messy.
More straight lines.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, just a little,
Well,
yeah, a
Kansas.
little bit easier
Yeah,
to see.
The
more
park-
Midwestern.
The
Yeah,
park,
yeah.
the park really helps
Yeah.
box it in.
Yeah. Well,
So
still
the
lots.
purple is VR two?
Yep.
Okay, so that's like day hill.
This is Day Mountain,
Day
Mountain
Mountain,
right there.
yeah.
the little sunshine.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, yes.
Sure that was intended.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the idea then is to, I think, kind of formulate, I'm just trying to get some guidance from where we should start. But if it will, are we starting with the premise that the maximum lot area should be the minimum lot area? Or are we starting with the premise that the maximum lot area should be a little bigger than the minimum lot area that we currently have?
Are you saying coverage or size of the lot?
Size of the lot, sorry.
Okay.
Do you think to answer that question, you need to go back to sort of the beginning of this conversation to get the data
Yeah.
of what sizes exist already, or no?
I personally I think that you're constraining yourself by just saying, well, here's what this is now, because you really should be asking the question of what did the town think that this area should be,
Right,
not necessarily what it is. So it was zoned to be a dense
Right.
residential area, and do we have the code that accurately reflects that intent? For example.
Do you see the same kind of purchasing going on in this area as in?
Well, I was gonna ask him actually that same question.
Okay.
Do you see people in this area buying more than one lot and making a huge house?
Nope.
And I don't see it really in Northeast. I'm worried in Northeast that's what's gonna happen because of those tiny lots.
Yeah.
But this whole stretch of Jordan Pond Road has become.
I mean, the other thing
Yes.
is,
More
More seasonal.
it's almost.
seasonal
yeah,
and
heavily seasonal.
larger versions of the houses that were already there.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
So
And I
it's the
can
same
see-
potential as anywhere else, and this, both of these sides.
right. And these are smaller. I mean, I can see this person wanting that
Well,
and
here,
that.
Mhm.
I'd say the major constraint here is the grade.
Mhm.
Yes.
So you really are,
It
you're
is.
kind of
It
forced to
does
be
show.
all along. That's why these houses are all here and not here.
Yeah.
Because they have to be.
Yeah.
Basically.
But this is where the issue is in Sea Harbor at this point anyway. I haven't heard of anybody going into Dunbar Road and changing it much yet.
Not yet.
It's
But
pretty
there are-
well developed.
But there
Yes.
are more seasonal people buying
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they are, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and
And it-
spreading their wings.
You know,
Mhm.
I think you could use this just as here's an exercise that we're doing for this area because it's nicely packaged and it doesn't mean the end result's gonna be a change. It just means like we're kind of exploring this idea here.
Mhm.
Do you
the
find
other
that
one.
people want to have more lot coverage than what's allowed? There, because,
No, because you don't count driveways and parking areas towards lot coverage. It's just buildings.
just
Mhm.
buildings
So nobody, it's rare that everybody.
want more than 40%.
Yeah.
Is this the old school or is it?
But I think both those big lots.
These are both the old school.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
what's this big one?
Aren't there lobster traps on that?
Is
big
that,
lot?
I don't
Sure,
know.
it's
I
big.
don't remember.
Open field.
yeah, that might be one.
Property.
Where's Nelson's shop?
Dividing it up.
Who's
Nelson Goodwood shop?
Oh.
way up on the corner?
No, down on.
Right here.
Yeah,
Oh, that one.
No.
No, the
No,
next one.
No,
the
the
big-
one down, the big one.
Big one,
Excuse me,
yeah,
sorry.
there. That one.
If that's Nelson's.
That's Nelson Goodwin?
No,
No, Edie.
this is
Oh,
Nelson,
Edie?
this is Nelson,
Well, in any event.
that's the water company.
Yeah.
That's the school,
Is that still in use in the summer?
yes,
Okay. I never knew.
and a playground.
Yeah.
Yes.
My dad owned it for a period of time.
Okay, so,
Full of pins.
so
That's cool.
are we defining? Or how do we define a need to do this in this? In these neighborhoods?
Well, you had the village, right? Meeting, a lot of people liked what they have there. They liked the way their area is.
Mhm.
They didn't see any specific change, if I recall,
Or want any.
or want any, exactly.
But that's because nobody's done it, yes, it hasn't
But
happened yet.
what we're doing is anticipating this happening in the future.
Yeah.
I think you
So-
should send a survey out.
That should be the definition of
I
what
think
we're
that's gotta
actually
be part of
about
all
here.
this.
I seriously think,
Yeah.
what do people wanna see,
Mhm.
you know, in their little village?
Mhm.
But it should be kind of clear that we're not trying to do anything but keep it, maintain what we have.
Right.
Right,
And that's the goal. It's not repressive.
I mean, some of the
I
zoning
think
doesn't
it's
make
probably gonna
sense.
come up.
repressive.
Yes. Well, maybe that-
Yeah, I definitely think that part of this has gotta be a survey or a meeting or something like that for the affected. Cause it's just specific parts of the town, very specific parts of the town. I think we've gotta hear from people there.
When you're here.
Well, first off,
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the other one. in
Yeah,
town.
so, I mean, the way I would kind of frame this is, we need to do a better job of articulating why we're even having this conversation.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Which I think we can do. And then here's some tools that comes from that question. The one that we're looking at right now is maximum lot area. And what does that mean? What would that look like? That's the whole
And
public meeting
possibly
part.
increasing coverage.
Yep,
They should both be in there at the same time.
Yeah, would you rather see your lot stay small and have more lot coverage? Or have the possibility of buying your neighbor's lot, increasing your lot size
And building a monstrous.
and keeping the lot coverage what it was?
Well, what's that?
Yeah, I hope so.
Make it sound more menacing.
well, I mean, I think it's a really interesting exercise with the intent of trying to, maintain the sort of the feel of some of these areas.
Well, if you
And
think
with
it's
the
still a
risk of
city, if someone
combining-
had a big enough, and could wipe that with one house.
Even some of the big developments in the big cities that started out as basically McMansions are now overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I can't find my brother-in-law's house anymore.
Yeah.
When he bought it, there were 10 houses. And it goes all the way into Chevy Chase.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, you could drive around and not even know what neighborhood you're in because they all look like.
That's
the same.
All right, so I think what's helpful for me right now is to kind of just frame out the questions that you have related to this particular topic.
Yep.
So articulate the reason, the need. I have, is there a standard small lot size?
Well, the need is pretty basic. It's the same as a lot, many of these other discussions is to attempt to preserve availability and affordability. And,
But that ship has sailed.
I don't think we should even say affordability. I think we should just say availability.
Availability and
Because
maintaining a neighborhood.
Yeah.
it's gonna self-police itself.
maintaining a year-round
Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Continuity.
Some of the people that are building up on Jordan Pond are old, long-term childhood and through generation,
Summer families.
summer residents that because the parents died, they sold the big property
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
moved to these, but they haven't in a lot of cases tried to recreate
Right, they've been,
what they had. They've been pretty modest,
without having design review, they've been thoughtful of the neighborhood.
except for the one up at the by the fountain.
The strip mall?
It does look like a strip mall. I didn't think about that. You're right. It does look a little weird and that's fine.
So do we need to focus on areas or do we wanna just focus on the idea? I mean, I think the areas, maybe I've already answered my own question for myself, but what do you guys think?
I think we need to focus on the idea.
And
So
the
that we
areas
can
will
settle
come
it carefully, and then we can take it to the areas. I mean, we already know basically what the areas are.
Mhm.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah. I think it's both, but I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't think it's actually a global conversation. It's a specific.
Yeah.
Parts of town.
Right, I think, I mean, I haven't printed out the whole town, but we could probably go around and say, well, you know, we're targeting the VR ones in the
That's.
village commercial areas,
Yeah, one.
but like, these are. You know, these ones maybe not, these ones maybe.
I mean, think about Wall Street. I'm sure those are small.
Right, I didn't even
Yeah.
look at,
Hot Creek, I bet
Otter
it
Creek,
is
but
small.
probably
Not
better,
everyone
yeah.
is used to that.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yes.
I think it's the best,
I know, you always say that. It's your favorite.
it is.
It's starting to build up there.
It is.
You know, up
Along
the,
road and-
The one that goes out of Cliff Road, is it?
Yeah,
There gonna seem to be some pretty good sized houses.
yeah.
I haven't
Okay.
seen it happen on Wall Street yet.
No, I just sold a little kind of thing on Wall Street.
Yeah, are they VR one?
Yes,
All of,
no,
just that street, the rest of,
VR2 and 1.
yeah.
Okay,
I forget why they have BC up there.
You know,
I know, I forget why.
so however.
Yeah, that was kind of my Otter Creek choice, was it not?
But I still think we need to focus on those, if we're gonna tighten up or maintain. A much tighter concentration of houses, we also have to talk about water. That's gotta be, it's gotta be a region that has both, you can't. Sewer and water,
Yes,
because you can't mess with the resources like that. Not with the climate we have now.
I don't know, I think both of those, all of Seal Harbor's on sewer and water now, I think.
Yeah, they must be, are they on?
Yeah.
yes.
And in town, yeah.
Otter Creek is on sewer, but not water, right? I'm not sorry,
I don't think they're on water, I'm not sure.
No.
Thank you. Glad you're here to tell.
That's great.
Is there any water up there? Is it stop? Do you know where it stops?
Comes, the only water that comes out of the creek, from Jordan Pond, the black line that goes across the wall, that's,
But that's not year round.
we can't use it anyway.
Yeah, true.
okay. So we've got, areas, we're gonna focus on VR1 and VR village commercial and areas that have water and sewer.
That's the
And then would
criteria.
it be helpful to, yeah, just, I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of frame it out.
Yeah, I do think we need to develop like a tight paragraph that describes. What the mission is and why.
Yeah, but also like, here's what, I'm thinking about like a matrix, you know, here's what's here, this is the proposal.
Why? Yes.
Yeah. And then public outreach follows that, framing it out,
Yes,
test the waters,
yeah.
or have a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is not to change what's there. I mean, in my mind, when you said it, I think, you know, this is a tool to help kind of keep the village, as opposed to turning it into something that it isn't. It's not a restriction so much as this is what the intent of this area is.
A maintenance.
Yep. Yeah. Continue with that. All right. Okay, so anything more that would be helpful for the next time we have this conversation?
Are you gonna be the one who produces these? this
Like if somebody else
prose,
wants
or
to
somebody
start to
gonna
write
help you with
prose,
it?
yeah, go for it.
Mhm.
I'm happy to focus on the
Nitty gritty.
other stuff. And provide feedback.
Do you wanna draft a paragraph? And I'd be happy to talk with you about it.
I would work with you, but I don't wanna draft it. I don't have the opportunity to do that,
Okay.
but I would work with you. I wouldn't do it solo.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Somebody should do it to get it started.
That's the hardest part,
Mhm.
just getting started,
Yeah, just something to,
Start with,
brain dump it.
you can edit it as it comes out.
Yep. If you call me, I'll help, I'll be there for you.
All right. Anything else we need to talk about today? Or that's such a short meeting.
It's okay with me. Right.
And we have a lot to go over, I think, what's next on our list?
Work plan in town meeting.
Recap of this, think about I think these two, may go hand in hand, but, the table of allowed uses, maybe try to simplify that a little bit. And then, I'll just throw this out there. I really think that we need to take a hard look at section 6A of the land use ordinance and whether or not that's even worth keeping in the ordinance, or to what version that needs to be in there. So I put that out there as homework, that 6A is really subjective, and we may wanna find better locations in the ordinance for those items of those things, so. Hard standard to meet. So if you had some homework,
again, if there are other communities you think would do that better.
that is a pretty unique section. So I would say, from my experience, let's take what's the intent of 6A and find locations in the ordinance where you can put a standard to that intent, like density of development, when you already have those standards. Or, if you're really concerned about visual character, then we don't have visual standards, so you wanna create some.
We went through quite a battle about that a few years ago.
So, to me, that would be the way I think it should be done. Not that doesn't mean that's the way it needs to be done, but
And a great one.
I would like to have a conversation about it, saying, let's break those things out. It's already broken out. And what does that actually mean?
Right.
Because there's no measurable way to figure that out right now.
Okay.
And you don't have to be so rigid, but I think they belong in different places in the ordinance and not there.
And remove them from there.
I would, yes,
Yes,
That's your suggestion.
correct.
yeah.
Okay,
I would delete that section tomorrow.
but you might have to wait.
You can't put it on Tuesday.
It said would, not will.
Yeah. But I think this is a better way to do it.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yep.
I'll dig into it some.
What's that?
I'll dig into it some, see what I think.
Great. Yeah, okay.
Now, the revised table of allowed uses.
Yeah, so
What's that?
in practice, what I think we need to do is, to me, it gets a little confusing when you start talking about. There's a lot of uses, like even between the commercial and other things that are basically, it's hard to categorize things, so instead of having it be like broken out by category and then you're tasked under different categories, the table of allowed uses could just be a table of allowed uses with pretty much the same, it's allowed here, it's not allowed here, it's the same intent, but we
Without the
want to
category.
take about reformatting it, so you don't have like, well, what do you mean by commercial this or that, like this, the example of,
Put it down.
planning garden preserve coming in to do something that's clearly the same thing, but you have to ask the planning board. How do you want to categorize this? Because there's no nonprofit category. So we could make it a little more specific. And yes, I can provide examples of that.
What that would look like.
Yep. Good.
I got some questions.
Sure.
We need to find a way to stop the climate change over there in Otter Creek.
We're working on it.
Huh? They get rid of that wall of death. We used to have a beautiful estuary right up there.
Oh, yeah, in the wet estuary, yeah.
You see that picture up there?
Yep,
Well, that's what it used to look like.
you mean where they built the dam across there?
Abundant, yeah, we used to have abundant sea life in there, everything was in there, now it's all just dead and green crabs. It's gotta be stopped.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Good, all right.
Anybody have anything else they need to say today? I would accept and move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Now that we have Zoom, we have to be more formal.
Not debatable.
All right, go home, everybody.
Practice that. for- It's not.
I will use that a lot.
Email.
That's it.
There you go.
Okay, did